Hey YouTube, it's March 28th, 2012, and you're watching the Game Startup channel. It's day 2 of 400 along the journey of setting up this game development business, and today we're going to talk about networking, building your professional network so that you can essentially have a group of people around you to support your business. Now, I think the fundamental reason that this is so important is because if you're just sitting alone in the dark, developing away and having a grandiose old time in the dark, you're just that. You're in the dark. You have no idea what's going on around you. You have no one to support you, and it can be some pretty dark days ahead for you if you don't have any sort of people to talk to who are in similar situations. So I think getting involved with people both who are in your own industry as well as business people who can support your ideas and give you an idea of where to go, getting involved with those people is really key to learning what it is that your business is really about and how to be successful. Now, one of the key factors that I thought of when approaching this idea of networking is, well, how do you actually get in front of these people? How do you actually build your network? How do you get involved, learn about other people and what they're doing? And I think the easiest way to get involved in that is to see them face to face, figure out what their interests are, and see how you can grow a relationship around that. So the first step, I think, was where do you find these people? And so I started with Meetup.com, which is a fantastic website for pretty much any interest that you have. There's meetups for every industry out there, as well as things that you may not necessarily be looking at in terms of a professional perspective. But one of the big advantages I saw was that, at least here in Vancouver, there's several indie game development groups that meet up on a regular basis, including Hardcore Indie, Full Indie, and Vancouver Social Games, which is fantastic. I mean, the fact that you can get together with piles of people who are interested in doing the same thing that you are and getting feedback on your ideas, that's unbelievable. In fact, last night I had the opportunity to go to one of the first meetings of a new group called Hardcore Indie, which is mostly focused on building non-social games. And I think this particular aspect is pretty intriguing because a lot of what I heard last night was the fact that social game meetups tend to talk a lot about the monetization of gaming, whereas this was more of a focus of, well, why is it that I want to build a game, and what does it take to build a great game? And so I haven't been to the other meetups yet, and I guess we'll have to take that analysis myself when I get there, but it's really interesting that there's so many different perspectives that you can have on a single industry, and I'm just hoping to meet a lot more people as we go through that. There's also non-directly related meetups that you may want to check out when you're trying to start up your business, including groups that teach you how to do marketing, and groups that teach you how to have a web presence, and what best practices are there. And I'm hoping, as we go along here, we can actually get an idea of what perspectives people have on increasing the business side of this whole thing versus the game development side. So we'll see how that goes as we go. So Meetup.com, first one. I was doing a little research, did some Googling. There's two cool websites. Just check them out. Not sure, how they'll pan out, but you should check them out for yourself. There's one called StartupWeekend.com, which is basically a bunch of people in your city get together for 54 hours and you launch a startup. I don't know how successful that'll be, but I'm going to look into it a bit further, and that might be pretty cool to check out. There's also a website called StartupDigest.com, and they basically send you an email every week that gives you an idea of all the startup events that are happening within your city. So definitely going to check that out and report back and let you guys know how that goes. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of, but in most major cities there's what I like to call co-working hubs, where usually a bunch of startups get together and share office space. But not only do they share office space, but they also usually hold a lot of events related to startup companies that are sometimes free to attend, sometimes you have to pay. But either way, they're awesome, and they're great ways to meet other people who are entrepreneurs in your city. In Vancouver, 2 examples that I checked out online were the Network Hub as well as the Hive. Looking forward to getting involved and checking out some of their events as they come up. In terms of game development specifically, game jams and competitions I think are going to be a huge way to get my name out there and get involved in the community. And the 2 big ones that come to mind, at least recently, are Global Game Jam, which happened in January. Happens every year. Thousands of people get involved every year in that, and I think that's going to be a great way to meet some other indie developers come the next January. I'm sure there's going to be other game jams coming up this year. I'm going to try and participate as many as possible. Competitions. First one that comes to mind is one that's running right now called Dream Build Play, and it's hosted by Microsoft, and you either build an Xbox 360 game or a Windows 7 game. I found that's a huge connecting factor, because you can actually go online and talk to other people who are entering that competition and participating, and you have a common ground there that you can network over. I'm definitely going to be participating in that competition, and hopefully that'll lead to some further network growth. Conferences, I think, are going to be huge this year for me. I'm going to try and attend as many game-related conferences as I can, including the Penny Arcade Expo, which happens in Seattle. SIGGRAPH this year is going to be happening in LA, I believe. I'm going to definitely try and get down there for as much of that as I can. As well as going to try and participate in next year's GDC, because I'm a little bit late to participate this year, but really looking forward to that as well. The last part I think I'm going to be checking out, and probably one of the more important ones when it comes to the distribution of games, is really getting involved in online forums that are related to the games that you're building. I think when you're talking about building a game, you really got to look at who your audience is and what they really want to see in a game. So I think getting involved and finding some really key online forums to participate in and figure out who is my market, that's going to be a key to the success of this business. Anyway, guys, that's my rant on setting up your professional network. I'd really like to hear you guys' feedback on other ways you think you can that I can set up my professional network and get more involved in the gaming community. You can leave your feedback in the comments, and I'd love to hear from you. Other than that, thanks for watching, and if you want to see more, subscribe.